Good morning and a very warm welcome. You are watching JanataTelevision and this is English Bulletin with me, Bhadra. The top stories first. Government decides to lift the ban on long route vehicles from next Monday. Domestic flights to resume from September 21st. Coronavirus claims 15 more lives in Nepal. A death toll climbs to 360. Nepal Bar Association blames political appointment for faltering judiciary. Both ruling and opposition parties held accountable for the mess. Scientists detect potential sign of alien life in Venus. Presence of phosphine gas indicates microbes in the neighbouring planet. And Chelsea's new signing Timo Werner instrumental in the season opener. Blues defeat Brighton by a scoreline of 3-1. And now, the news in detail. The government has decided to resume long-distance transportation service as well as domestic flights from September 21st. A meeting of the Council of Ministers held at the Prime Minister's official residence in Balwatar yesterday decided to ease the restrictions across the country. Ministers attending yesterday's cabinet meeting confirmed that the government has decided to lift the ban on long route vehicles and domestic flights effective from upcoming Monday. The cabinet meeting also decided to recommend the name of NCP Vice Chairman Bamdev Gautam as a member of the National Assembly to the President. There is a constitutional provision for the President to appoint 3 members of the Upper House. Currently, 1 of 3 posts is vacant. Meanwhile, the cabinet could not decide about the appointment of CEO of Nepal Electricity Authority, which has become a matter of public interest after the term of Kulman Khising expired yesterday. Meanwhile, the number of people infected with coronavirus in the country has reached 55,329. The government yesterday confirmed 15 more deaths from the deadly disease, taking the death toll to 360. According to Health Ministry, 5 women and 10 men have become the latest victim of the disease. Most of the victims were elderly people except for 2 young men and a middle-aged woman. Meanwhile, the government confirmed 450 new cases of coronavirus in Kathmandu, 43 in Bhaktapur and 29 in Lalitpur. As of today, there are 15,393 active cases of coronavirus in Nepal, according to the ministry. So far, 39,576 persons have recovered from the disease in Nepal. The idol of Rato Machendranath has been taken back to its temple in Bungmati without the traditional display of the sacred vest this year due to the coronavirus pandemic. Every year, the head of state is invited to a ceremony at a Jawlak Hill where the public display of the sacred vest is done before the Machendranath idol is taken back to Bungmati. The Japu Society has informed that this year various traditions have been dropped, including the sacred vest display to avoid the spread of coronavirus. During normal times, the Rato Machendranath festival is considered as one of the longest in the valley, with the conclusion made generally at the end of the Nepali month of Asar, but this year the festival concluded yesterday after a long delay. It is believed that the Rato Machendranath festival has a history of over 1700 years. This is Janata Bulletin. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back. We continue with other national news. Supreme Court yesterday issued an interim order against the government decision to allow the plotting of arable land. A single bench of Justice Sushma Lata Mathamas stayed the order of the government to recommence the plotting of arable lands till September 24. Senior advocate Dinesh Tripathi and others had filed a writ petition in the apex court challenging cabinet's decision that decided to lift its earlier directive to restrict the plotting of arable land. The bench has also summoned the Ministry of Land Management, Cooperatives and Poverty Alleviation to attend the hearing on September 24th for whether or not to continue with its decision. The ministry on August 10, 2017 issued a directive that prohibited plotting of arable lands without prior permission from the related government agencies. Minister Padma Aryal last week announced the prohibition had to be discontinued, citing practical difficulties and various malpractices. Now, Nepal Bar Association has expressed concerns over public's declining faith in judiciary due to political influence in constitutional appointments. The umbrella body of legal practitioners opined that a rule of law in the country has become extremely difficult due to foul play of both ruling and opposition party leaders exerting their influence during constitutional appointments. A report.
Organization for Legal Practitioners in Nepal has alleged political parties and their leaders for discrediting the constitution, which in turn has affected the judiciary. Speaking at a press conference organized after a 3-day virtual national workshops of the Association General Secretary Leela Mani Paudel held political parties responsible for the recommendation, nomination and appointment of different constitutional bodies. Such move has made the implementation of the constitution a complicated task, he said. The appointment of judges must be based on his qualification, experience and moral grounds, Paudel said, adding that lawful appointment of judges is the key to secure independence of judiciary.
सिफारिस गर्ने व्यक्तिका बारेमा पनि एउटा निश्चित मापदण्ड बनाएर उपयुक्त व्यक्तिलाई सिफारिस गरोस् र अझ सो घोषणा हामी त्यहाँ राखेका छौं कि म यदि नेपाल बार एसोसिएसनबाट सिफारिस भएँ भने परिषद सदस्य भए भने म अन्य न्यायिक नियुक्ति खानका लागि लायक हुने छैन अथवा जाने छैन भनेर उहाँको सो घोषणा गराएर सही गराएर बार एसोसिएसनमा राख्ने भन्ने सम्मको पनि सुझाव आएका छन्.
NBA chairperson Chandreshwar Shrestha also backed the General Secretary Paudel's stance and accused the political parties of downplaying judicial appointments.
प्रधान न्यायाधीशले 8 गर्यो भने मैले सुन्ने गरेको छु 50% त यो समस्या विसङ्गति विकृति त्यतिकै हटाउँछ हट्छ यो शुद्धिकरणको कुराहरू 50% त्यतिकै जान्छ.
Similarly, legal practitioners have unanimously advocated that particular standards should be fixed on media reports regarding ongoing cases to restore failing public faith in the entire judiciary.
मिडियाले कुरा गर्दाखेरि अलि संवेदनशील भइदिनु पर्यो. त्यसबाट ताकि न्यायपालिकाको शुद्धिकरणमा पनि सहयोग होस् र चल्दैको मुद्दामा न्यायाधीशहरू दबावमा आउने परिस्थिति पनि सृजना नहोस्.
Likewise, NBA has also requested the government to conduct PCR tests for practicing lawyers and make arrangements for their treatment in case they get infected.
In other news, former Chief Commissioner of the Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority, Janata Upadhyay, has alleged the CIAA of failing to perform any exemplary action in the recent years. Former CIA Chief Upadhyay has blamed the anti-graft body of only catching small fishes during the last 8 to 10 years. The reputation of such a prestigious body has come crashing down in the recent days as the organization lacks accountability. He has also concluded that the lack of skilled manpower has also affected the preparation of charge sheets.
अलिकति चाहिने तपाईको साना तिना मसिना केसेसहरुमा लाग्या देखिन्छ अनि त्यसपछि चाहिने तपाईको त्यो स्टिङ अपरेसन भनिया छ त्यो स्टिङ अपरेसनमा पनि 2000-3000 मान्छे समाति राखेको छ. अख्तियारको आरोप पत्र चाहिँ अलिकति एक्सपर्ट मान्छेले नतयार गरे जस्तो देखिन्छ. त्यसकारणले चाहिँ त्यहाँ चाहिँ एक्सपर्ट मान्छेहरुको खाँचो भएको जस्तो मैले अनुभव गर्छु.
Upadhyay further added that the people joining the commission just for the sake of securing a job will never work towards achieving the goal of the commission.
पहिले एउटा मिसन लिएर आउनु पर्यो. कुनै मान्छे अख्तियारमा जारी खाएर आउँछु भनेर विचारले आउँछ भने त्यो बरु नआयो हुन्छ. तर केही म गर्छु देशका लागि मेरो मिसन छ, म जन्मेको यही देशमा हुँ, म नागरिक हुँ, मैले गर्दा धेरै काम हुन सक्छ भन्ने मिसन एउटाले चाहिँ लिएर एउटा उद्देश्य लिएर त्यसप्रति प्रतिबद्धता छ भनेदेखि त्यस्तो मान्छे मात्रै आउनु पर्छ।
Former commissioner also expressed concerns about the former CIA chiefs themselves being involved in corruptions, lawsuit and being fired from their position due to the lack of educational qualification. And now the news from Economic Front. The World Bank has provided a grant assistance of 1.27 billion rupees to Nepal. The bank has said that the grant will help in improving and uplifting the education sector in Nepal. The grant assistance was signed by Joint Secretary of Finance Ministry Sri Krishna Shrestha and Regional Director of World Bank for the Maldives, Nepal and Sri Lanka, Faris Haddad Zarabus. The bank has further said that the grant will provide much-needed relief to the education sector hard hit by the coronavirus in Nepal. The grant will also be used to provide distance learning through television, radio, online teaching portals and other online communication means to the school-going children who have been deprived of education in the last 6 months. The grant will also be used to provide learning materials for children who don't have access to these means. Time for a short break here at Janata Bulletin. Stay tuned for international and sports news. Welcome back, and now the international news. Scientists have detected a gas called phosphine in the acidic clouds of Venus that indicates microbes may inhabit Earth's inhospitable neighbor. Scientists believe that the new finding is a tantalizing sign of potential life beyond Earth. According to Reuters, the researchers did not discover actual life forms, but noted that phosphine is produced by bacteria thriving in oxygen-starved environments on Earth. The international scientific team first spotted the phosphine gas using the James Clerk Maxwell telescope in Hawaii and confirmed it using the ALMA radio telescope in Chile. Co-author of the study by Nature Astronomy journal Clara Sosua Silvia says the discovery is important because if it is phosphine, it indicates life. The existence of extraterrestrial life alone has been one of the paramount questions of science, but Venus has not been the focus on the search for life in the solar system, with Mars and other worlds getting more attention, the news agency reported. Indian officials have accused Chinese troops of laying a network of optical fiber cables at a western Himalayan flashpoint with India. According to Reuters, the officials said Chinese troops were digging in for the long haul despite high-level talks aimed at resolving a standoff there. Such cables which would provide forward troops with secure lines of communication to bases in the rear have recently been spotted to the south of Pangong Shau Lake in the Himalayan region of Ladakh, a senior government official said. Thousands of Indian and Chinese troops backed by tanks and aircraft are locked in an uneasy stalemate along a 70-kilometer long front to the south of Lake. Each country has accused the other of escalating the standoff. Another Indian official said that there had been no significant withdrawals or reinforcement on either side since the foreign ministers of the two countries met last week. The Chinese, on the other hand, have complained about India building roads and airstrips in and around their disputed border, and Beijing says this triggered tensions along the border. You are watching Janata Bulletin, and now the latest from the world of sports. Chelsea and Wolves both got off to a winning start in the Premier League campaign 2020-2021. Chelsea have been the heavy spenders in the transfer window this season, with about £200 million spent on acquiring new players in various positions. New signings Timo Werner and Kai Havertz both started for the Blues yesterday, with Werner winning the penalty for Lampard's side in the 23rd minute. Jorginho converted from the resulting penalty to give Chelsea a first half lead. Brighton brought the game back level through Trossard's goal in the 54th minute, which the Blues immediately cancelled through a Reece James thunderous finish from the 25 yards. The final goal of the match was scored by Kurt Zouma in the 66th minute, and Chelsea finalised all 3 points. In another match, Wolverhampton Wanderers defeated Sheffield United by 2-0, with goals coming from Raul Jimenez and Romain Saiz in the first 10 minutes of the match. Wolves, who finished 7th last season, are looking to better their position in the league this season after having spent on new players in summer transfer window. Senior officials of Formula One are looking into whether Lewis Hamilton broke rules at the Tuscan Grand Prix by wearing a t-shirt highlighting police brutality. Hamilton wore a t-shirt which read, "Arrest the cops who killed Breonna Tyler, a black woman shot 8 times in a Louisville, Kentucky home by U.S. police in March." A spokesman for the F1 said the matter was under active consideration. He said the F1 was not a political organization and was considering if Hamilton's t-shirt broke its statutes. Hamilton said after winning the race on Sunday, "I've been wanting to bring awareness to the fact that there are people being killed on the street," BBC reported. F1 and FIA have mounted an anti-racism and pro-diversity campaign this year, which includes anti-racism demonstrations before every race. We are at the end of Janata Bulletin, and the headlines once again. Government decides to lift the ban on long route vehicles from next Monday. Domestic flights to resume from September 21st. Coronavirus claims 15 more lives in Nepal. Death toll climbs to 360. Nepal Bar Association blames political appointment for faltering judiciary. Both ruling and opposition parties held accountable for the mess. Scientists detect potential sign of alien life in Venus. Presence of phosphine gas indicates microbes in the neighbouring planet. And Chelsea's new signing Timo Werner instrumental in the season opener. Blues defeat Brighton by a scoreline of 3-1. And that's all from the English News Desk for today. You can follow Janata Television and our programs on various social media platforms, including on our website at janatasamachar.com. We urge all our viewers to take all precautionary measures against coronavirus. Keep washing your hands, keep watching Janata Television. Namaste.